just to leave off, before we get into the content, this should be part 2 of avoidable mistakes. Now, just to give you a little more context of what happened in the last video, we pretty much summarized focus as the intention on the 4 entities that we defined. That's the trader, in my case, the chat, the stock, which I defined as like the details that outline the potential opportunity closing or opening or disappearing. And then you have the last entity, which would be the pattern, which is the opportunity that's given to you. Now, when you have those 4 entities attached to your focus, which we defined as your intention, that's just one part of it. Another thing to consider is your awareness, which I defined as your state of mind or the perception of yourself when you get to a point where you're self-conscious and things like that. And that is the foundation that you have for when you're trading. It's your emotional stability, your mental fortitude, and things like that. One last thing for the summary for the last video. The last mistake was pretty much clouded judgment in awareness and in focus, leading to a misclick on a button. In this video, you're going to see a different type of mistake, but it has the same fundamentals of where the mistake comes from, which was the stuff I just summarized. Now, with that, let's get into the content. All right, so we're here. And what I want to say now is the mistake here is a perception mistake, and how your perception can change from anything in your environment as well as your situation. And you know, that's outside as well as inside. And in my case, you'll be able to visually see my changes. And so without, you know, giving you any kind of, you know, more preparation, I'll just show you what I mean.
Good morning, guys. I think this works. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, you know, happy holidays. The play today, I already missed it. Are you serious? What was it? I was about to short this for a temporary short, wait for some type of consolidation, because it only needs like 3 to 5 million volume to break this, and it doesn't have it yet. But I was gonna be greedy and try to get that dollar on this pull, like dollar and a half. Oh, that's annoying. But something similar with a MBOT. It's gonna do a little pull, trap those early shorts. I was debating whether I wanted to be like, you know, half of that early short and then buy into the dip. I think I'm gonna just try to buy into the dip, which I don't want to play that game like too much. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna buy now. Yeah, this is at least 10%.
With that video, you saw the market just open. Like legit 1 minute in, I'm already mad. And I'm mad because I missed the opening candle. With that opening candle, I was trying to follow a pattern. And so the pattern is the opportunity. And that opportunity was supposed to be presented at the open. And so as soon as I saw that candle go up and then I saw a big price action, like, you know, pull going down, I already thought I missed the opportunity. That's not reasonable. And I already lost at that point. Now, the mistake actually doesn't end there. The mistake keeps going because my focus changed. And so originally my focus was on the pattern, which is you have an opportunity. Your opportunity is at the open candle. You're going to short at that open candle. I missed that opportunity because I was trying to analyze the other stock. And now with the other stock, that was a minimum percentage gap up short. I had no plans to short early. My target on that was like 10.10, 11.30, like that area. I actually had plans to buy on that. And now when you saw in the beginning, you saw a screen come up. That screen was me getting ready to buy. When I was getting ready to buy, that was actually almost another mistake. So notice how I'm trying to buy this. The thing is, I'm actually watching this ticker down here move, and I'm getting conflicted right now because I'm trying to watch them both at the same time. And so my attention is divided. And then I can't tell that I'm on the wrong ticker. And by the time that I actually realized it, that's when I pressed no, because I had no intention to short the MBOT. I had intentions to short BFRI at the open. And now I just missed that opportunity, which should have been my priority. But what I do remember is that I have to get to a position off the pull from the open on BFRI. There wasn't a pull yet. I'm not even reading the stock at that point. I'm still thinking about the pattern. There's not a single pull right here. It's going sideways. And I already have my buy open, or my buy window open. And so like that's the first mistake. My whole awareness, my attention and everything just divided. That's just the beginning of the mistake, to where, long story short, I go in at like 10-20, and then the stock comes down into like the 8s. I take like a 30 cents loss. It was a small loss, but it was enough to make me feel a little bit like regret, because I'm really close to the 25K mark, which we all know is either PDT area or a place where you can get the 90-day ban if you've already been under PDT, which I have been already. So I'm feeling a little pressure from that. And then that's adding to the already stressful situation going on in terms of my perception and awareness. Now, when it comes back to like the focus and stuff, eventually I let go of the idea that, I should buy this MBOT. I put it to the side. I trade BFRI. I try to go long on this. And the thing is, my original plan was to go short, remember? Short at the open. At what point was I actually supposed to switch to long was after the pull. And in my head, the pull was somewhere closer to like the low 12, upper 11 area. Because like I'm looking for minimum 10%, but somewhere actually close to 12% in that pull. At some point, I got so mad from like the early mistake that I didn't even make yet. It's just all in my head because of the idea of the pattern and like lack of focus and awareness, that I just go in early on this with a long. And that ended up being another loss. And so the first loss was 500. The second loss was 100 or 1,000. And so that's a $1,500 loss already. Just, spoiler alert, me telling on myself even more. We got to a point where I just gave up on BFRI because it just dropped in like one really big candle, which was also kind of predictable. And I was also like, kind of aware of this if it went up like too fast. And that's originally why I wanted to short in the first place. Now, the thing is, switching to buy, not only did I do it way too early. Yeah, like that's actually the lesson right there. Like originally I wanted to short because of the pattern, the bigger picture. When I already made that mistake in my head, as well as like the mistake on the other ticker, I switched to the stock's price action. And then I started reading things that weren't even there. So like you did see this go up a little bit, and you're probably like, oh yeah, you probably saw it caught support and like you went in and stuff like that. I know better than that. I know that's not going to do anything. That's just a detail. The bigger picture is what really matters. That detail is only going to tell me if the opportunity that I was originally looking for is opening or closing. And in this case, I was reading it backwards. That's why I ended up taking this like loss right here. And then it went down and found its support. And I was still stuck on this bias only for a long that, oh, it only needs this amount of shares for it to break the top. And then the people in the chat, they're witnessing this horrible incident. And they're just like, Dontez, just be patient. They're right. If I was patient and just kept all those ideas in my head and just like let the chart develop a little bit, I would have came to understand and see the bigger picture instead of focusing on those details and rely on them just because I allowed that one mental loss to like guide the entire rest of the day. It didn't stop there. It went to a different ticker, which it never should, but I allowed it to happen. Now, I'll show you how it affected it. Now, at this point, I already lost 1,000 here, and I lost 500 on the buy here, and then the double cover there. I went short. Pretty much I went short at 820. And now my focus on this was not only chasing in this minimum range, minimum gap up short. I'm thinking, okay, it already broke the necessary points where momentum would be lost. I'm thinking in terms of an ideal pattern, what would the ideal cover point be? And so I'm thinking somewhere between 750 and 720. And I already have this hammered in my mind that this is an ideal play. And I don't know where I'm getting this from, but eventually I go in at 820. And the only reason I even tried this is because I had a little bit of pressure because I knew I was around 25K. But that being said, I end up taking a position. When I take that position, it goes down to upper sevens area. And at that upper sevens area, I'm barely above where I want to be, because the only reason I attempted this position in the first place was so I didn't fall under 25K when my borrow fees came through. And so all he needed $300 to $500. When it went to that lower sevens area, I got that, but I didn't pull the trigger fast enough because I was still expecting ideal pattern profit targets and cover points. And so I'm trying to aim for the 750 and 720. I didn't even think about going back to the very basic. Is there even an opportunity here for a short? Because remember, I wanted to go long. There always has to be a point where you have to reset yourself and then, start from the basics and realize, are you even doing the right thing? But just to, add insult to injury, I'll go the next step, what happened later. So I add in 2000 here at, I think it was 820. And then I see it comes back after, missing all the opportunities to cover in the world. Then it spikes up and I'm just thinking, oh, okay, cool. In normal, ideal gap up shorts, when there's a second leg up, there's a bounce. I can get on this bounce. I can raise my average and I can ride it all the way down to that profit target that I have in my head. That's only an ideal. This is an overcrowded stock, barely minimum, plus it's a very volatile sector. So many things that I'm just completely ignoring because I'm afraid to lose the 25K status. Now, eventually I get to a point where I almost top tick the bounce. And when the bounce came up, I already put in all my shares at that 820 area because I was that confident that it was going to go down to that area. And we know what happened. It didn't. And so when it came up to this area, I wanted to bring my average up enough. And so I borrowed double plus half. So the original position had 2,000. I borrowed 3,000 and that brought my total position up to a 50K ish kind of position, which originally I was only going for a 19K position or 18K, 16K, something like that. And so this completely is being messed up in all kinds of dimension. My focus is going from the trader's emotions to the stock's details. It's not touching the pattern at all. When we get to the point where I add in at the top, I half-assed it. If I actually didn't half-ass it and I went in the full amount that I wanted to, I actually could have came up. I could have came up a couple thousand because pretty much my average, when I calculated it before, I had 2/5 at 820, and I was going to put 3/5 at minimum 870. I was, patient enough to see that this is actually going to break out a little bit more. Only put in 1,000 at 875, and then I was going to put in the rest when it went up, to wherever it was going. Once it went up there, it's not as clean as it looks on this 15-minute candle. It's actually it was really hard to top tick that. Once it broke that point, I started getting greedy again. I stopped thinking about what was the original reason I went into this. And I was thinking, okay, I have a lot of money in this. Once I put in my full position, I'm going to be in a 50K position. I don't want to be in a 50K position. I'm over here thinking about my emotions, like the trader's emotions. I'm not thinking about the stock anymore. I long ago wasn't thinking about the pattern anymore. And so since I didn't actually commit, I didn't actually give myself a chance to actually, do what could have saved me, like on an intuitive level, on a like greedy kind of level. If I actually did what I wanted to do and use the, beliefs that actually could have helped me. Now to add insult to injury, it gets to the point where my average is at 380, 838. And then it goes down to like 823. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm up like 1,000 and something. That would give me back like 66% of my gains, or 66% of my losses. I could have cut it right there, but it didn't stay there long enough. Eventually, I'm waiting for it to crack. I'm still waiting for it to crack, thinking about this ideal pattern that doesn't exist in my head because it never met it in the first place, to go all the way down here. All in one candle, it comes up right to the high of day from the beginning of the day. Using a bit of discipline I actually do have, I take a max loss. And from that max loss, I'm down 4K. And so I'm thinking, okay, I took a full max loss of 3K, which that's my max loss. And I'm like, what can I do to make this better either today or tomorrow? And the thing is, as I'm thinking about this, I'm starting to see that high a day didn't get actually taken out all the way. And I have 5,000 shares borrowed. And I'm thinking, this actually looks like a pattern now. This actually looks like a double top. Something a little bit more ideal than before. The bag holders from this area, as well as the people that were caught off guard and they got squeezed, that's going to get rid of the supports that are all between this. And I'm like, I actually think I want to go back in. And so now this time I'm actually thinking clearly. It just took a 4K loss to actually sober me up to actually focusing on the pattern. And then at that point, I'm thinking, okay, cool. If I top tick this and then I put as much size as possible down, and this actually does the thing that I want, I can control the maximum amount of damage that can happen. I was like, if anything, this could be a blessing. If I top tick this and then it just goes back to even half of what I'm expecting, this is going to be great. I go in with half of what I originally risked before. And it goes down to the $9 area. Now at this point, the stuff I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, cool. This is actually a pattern. This is actually, me reading the stock right. This is me in a comfortable position, until I started focusing on how would I feel when I get into the pre-market as a short seller? And I'm thinking, the supply is going to change. The chances of me getting squeezed is going to increase by 3-4 times, or something a lot, because most people can't actually trade in the aftermarket. And so I got to a point where I got so self-conscious that I'm like, okay, I lost enough. I got 1,000 back. I'm going to settle for that. I completely forgot about the pattern. I forgot about the details and factors, that double top, the original, bag holders trapped here. You can ride this all the way down. There's a whole X amount of hours left that you can, use to hold this mistake. I didn't even give it a chance just because I had all that fear stack up from all those early mistakes, all that self-consciousness and everything like that. At the end of the day, I came away with 3,000 down, and I covered at around low 9, where I could have covered at 820. And if I still had that amount of size, instead of being down 3K, I could be up 10K. Now, what's the right thing to do in this situation? It's not to trade this at all in terms of going short, because it's a minimum gap up short. When it came to that long, I should have just took that long on the chin, just took the $500 loss and walked away. Up to that point where I took this position right here, I should have committed to this second entry and then held it to the point where, you know, it went even, or I just went slightly above and then just got out of there. At any point, I could have just stopped this whole situation if I just zoomed all the way out and saw that this is a barely ideal, not even ideal, it's a barely a pattern in the first place. And so that's all I really wanted to say on that. This video is a little long. I'll throw another mistake on later. Other than that, if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.